Very good morning and good afternoon and good evening to you from whichever part of globe you are attending. Welcome to Industry Whispers, celebrating women in tech 2024. In today's session, we have an amazing collection of women in tech to inspire your career journey. Come hear their stories, hurdles, and triumphs as we celebrate Women's History Month. The host for today's webinar is a distinguished professional with a Waterloo Computer Science PhD, specializing in SIMD data storage and boasts a remarkable academic background with 6 degrees under her belt. She enhanced her formal education with process improvement certifications of Black Belt, Lean Sigma, and Full Thinking, along with technology and network transformation certifications from AT&T. Her expertise is underscored by holding 8 patents with IBM and 2 more pending with Microsoft. Her illustrious career spans transformative roles at leading tech giants, including IBM, DPWN, Dell, and AT&T. Recently, she was the platform architect for Azure and CTO in Azure's MCIGET at Microsoft. Trained as an analyst by Gartner, she is heralded as an expert in data-related domains, encompassing ingestion, quality, governance, integration, management, and analytics, including sensor data. Beyond her technical prowess, her accolades extend to the realms of athletics and literature. She is an all-American athlete, collegiate runner, and a published author with over 200 articles and 2 notable books to her name. Her first book, Distributed Operation Systems, was published by Prentice Hall in English and Chinese. Her second book, Galley's Keys to Success, Optimize Your College Career, is available via online bookstores. As a sought after speaker, she has graced esteemed platforms such as the Forbes Executive Summit, CIO Summit, Grace Hopper, and Network Plus Interlock, Las Vegas, among others. Her contributions to technology and academia have earned her recognition as one of the top 25 women on the web. Her multifaceted skill set, paired with her extensive experience and notable achievements, solidify her standing as a leading figure in the technology industry. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Doreen Galley. Over to you, Dr. Galley.
Thank you, Shilpi. What an introduction. At 32%, the share of women working in tech now is lower than it was in 1985 at 35%, according to Technopedia. Technopedia also reports the percentage of women in tech leadership roles has fallen to 28% in 2023, and that 50% of women leave the tech roles by the age of 35. Well, we are here to change that and encourage each other. Greetings from fabulous Las Vegas. Welcome to Industry Whispers, celebrating women in tech. And I have to tell you, I am very excited about today's celebration. I am dedicating it to my upcoming granddaughter, who is set to arrive in July. May she realize she can become anything she wants. Now, for today's session, I'm going to introduce our amazing panelists, and then they're going to share their stories about how they got into tech. And then we're going to dive right into the questions and answers that you submitted. And I understand that there are a number of people that submitted questions that are busy in school. And so they're going to be catching this when it's on our YouTube channel. Remember, if you follow Enterprise Technology, be sure to subscribe to TBW Advisors LLC on YouTube, because I personally attend a ton of conferences here in Las Vegas and do extensive coverage and analyze it as well, which shows up on LinkedIn. At this time, I'd love to introduce you to our first panelist, Nataliya Seymova. Nataliya's tech career began in Ukraine when she studied mathematics and computer science at the Faculty of Cybernetics in Tarashenko National University in Kiev. I tried, sorry. She earned degrees in applied mathematics, social informatics, and teaching before making the move to the US. in the early 2000s. In the Midwest, she drove into information technology and telecommunications, starting in a 24/7 network operations center and later managing enterprise and small business networks. Her journey led her to lead the network engineering team at SC Johnson and serve as the chair of ESOP committee at CCNN for employee-owned company. In the past decade, Nataliya shifted gears into cybersecurity, working for major players like Microsoft and Amazon. She focused on securing customer data through security assurances, access governance, penetration testing programs, while also actively engaging in women's communities, offering mentorship and support. Seeking to broaden her horizons, Nataliya pursued further education at Geese College for Business, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, specializing in entrepreneurship, strategic innovation, and business analytics. Outside of work, Nataliya finds joy in her passion for music, adding depth and balance to her life. Please give a very warm welcome to Nataliya. Nataliya, could you please share with us your journey in terms of how you entered into the tech career?
Well, thank you, Darren, for such a nice introduction, and thank you for inviting me today. I'm very honored to be here and participate in the panel. I would like to talk about my story and how I got into tech career, and it may resonate with some of you. As Darren mentioned, I was born and raised in Ukraine. This is where I attended school and took studies in finance, mathematics, and programming. My first job also was back in Ukraine, and I had the role of technical writer for one of the government agency on the team of software developers. I moved to the United States with my husband, newborn daughter, in 2000, and our first destination was Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I took a few-year break raising my daughter and my son at the time, before I entered the workforce in the United States. During the time when I was not at work, I was diving into technical training, obtaining several industry certifications that helped me stay relevant in the information technology field. Honestly, it was not easy at all to find the first job in the United States, and I was very appreciative for an opportunity to get hired in Network Operations Center for our worldwide enterprise customers. Soon after, I got exposed to networking, working with firewalls, routers, switches, voice over IP, Microsoft Active Directory, as well as CRM solutions. I had to dedicate significant time and effort to be successful in every role that came my way, mastering new technical skills that I need for the job. Outside of work hours, I had to pursue multiple certification from both Cisco and Microsoft, furthering my continuous learning and professional development. Consistently in my work roles, I went extra mile to build trust among colleagues and clients, delivering quality work, and actually got known for setting a benchmark for a high bar. About 10 years ago, we moved from Milwaukee to Seattle, and I joined Microsoft Security Organization. It was very exciting and fulfilling experience. In my 8 years, I got a chance to work as security engineer, as security program manager on several teams, while securing Microsoft cloud services, data centers, networks, doing pen testing, and building security solutions for our large clients. I had the privilege on collaborating with exceptionally talented colleagues, engaging with some of the largest customers, and working with the cutting-edge technology that sets industry standard for excellence. My current role is with Amazon.com, and this is where I'm focusing on securing Amazon sellers' data, mostly through access governance, to ensure customers' data is protected. I would like to say that Amazon's day one culture and its continuous drive for innovation made my career in Amazon rewarding and meaningful. Outside of work, as Darren introduced me, I have a family. My husband, who has been supportive and helped me grow with my tech careers over all these years. I have the children who are adults now, and I'm very proud mom of. And I also have 2 joyful and restless German short-haired pointers that keep me pretty active. As my kids are grown up, I found time to focus on myself And in 2022, I started my MBA program with the University of Illinois. And that's summarize me at this point. And I'm looking forward to today's discussion where we can share and learn from one another. It's a very great opportunity for collaboration and to celebrate women in tech. Thank you, Darine, for bringing us together. Darine, back to you.
Thank you, Nataliya. What a journey. I could only imagine trying to deal with staying in a career that's tough as it is, in addition to the cultural change. We are so glad you stuck with us because I can tell you, I have worked with Nataliya and she's first class. Now I'd like to return the favor to introduce Shilpi Chaundra, who did me the favor of introducing me earlier. She's a tech trailblazer with a penchant for progress. Shilpi's a dynamic force in the tech realm, boasts a background in electronics engineering, coupled with a recent MBA from prestigious Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. With a staggering 16 plus years of IT expertise under her belt, Shilpi shines as a stalwart of Oracle, dedicating the past 12 years to product and customer support. Her commitment to fostering diversity and inclusion is evident through her role as a diversity and inclusion ambassador at Oracle, as well as her esteemed position on a task force member of D&I at CGIU, Oracle. Beyond the realms of tech, Shilpi has served as a treasurer of IBC Titans Toastmasters Club and past president and VP Ed in District 121. She exudes excellence in communication and leadership development. Not stopping there, she also serves as a member of the area director in District 100's R3 area, amplifying her impact in the Toastmasters community. Shilpi believes that leaders are not born, and every individual has this trait that can be outperformed with mentoring and coaching. When she's not shaping the future of tech or honing her leadership skills, Shilpi finds solace in the playful antics of her delightful 8-year-old son. Please welcome Shilpi Chaundra. And Shilpi, could you please share with us your journey and how you became a member of the tech community?
Thank you, Doreen. Thanks for the introduction. I want to share from the beginning how I entered into the tech industry from the time I was a little girl. I entered tech industry in the year 2007. However, the seed of tech was sown in my mind back in 1989 when I was in grade 1. My mom and dad helped me to revise all the subjects that happened in my school. However, for mathematics doubt, I was always sent to a neighbor uncle. Why? Because he was an engineer. My family had a history of medical professionals. So there is a different kind of respect for anyone who is an engineer. Years passed and I was in grade 3. We have to shift our home to a different place. So my doubts for mathematics started piling up. One day I decided to join my friend for mathematics extra classes. I remember that day when only 2 of us were there in the class. The maths teacher sarcastically scolded my friend and said, if you will not solve the sums, then she will become an engineer. That time, I even didn't know that what an engineer means. I was in grade 3. However, one thing was clear to me, that to become an engineer, I have to start liking maths. And as I said, my family had a lot of respect for engineers, and that added to this. Year passed, and in 1999, when I completed my 10th examination, I was one of the topper in mathematics in school and scored 98% marks when I was just scoring 10% when I was in primary school. Thanks to my family genes, I was already scoring good marks in science, specifically biology. Remember, I told you my family has a history of medical professionals. The real dilemma came after grade 12th when I have to choose one subject to go further, mathematics or science, whether I will be an engineer or a MBBS doctor. Finally, with a lot of thoughts, I decided to be an engineer. In the year 2001, I became the first girl from my community to have an engineering degree. I remember the day when one of the acquaintance came to my father and said, "Is she really going to do engineering degree? Don't you think that suits a girl?" My father said, "So what? If she is a girl, can't she do an engineering degree?" Thanks to my family, parents, and friends for supporting me throughout my engineering degree and engineering career. After that, I joined as an electronics engineer, and after becoming an engineer, I jumped into the IT industry. And now, 18 years down the line, I am here in Women as Tech seminar with all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget, men and women are two sides of the same coin. I believe an industry cannot prosper without diverse talents and innovation capabilities. And those are required for critical growth, competitiveness, and sustainability. I hope my story inspires few of the ladies, if not all, and they can come out of the traditional occupation. As Groucho Marx said, if you are not having fun, you are doing something wrong. Over to you, Doreen.
Thank you, Shilpi. That was fantastic. And I can tell you, we are very grateful for your uncle. And let us all be that friend or relative to our friends and family so that we can help keep tech as diverse as it can be. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Now, Amee, I think we got Amee on correctly. Amee Cooper was most recently the Senior Director of R&D Operations and leading technical program management and tech ed within VMware Engineering Services. She has over 20 years in operations, finance, and high-tech experience. She joined VMware in 2006. In her early roles at VMware, Amee built her high-performing global program and change management teams, delivering on multi-million-dollar portfolios. Then in 2017, moved into R&D organization, leading the strategy, planning, and operations, or ROCS, R&D operations and central services. When ROCS merged to form VMware Engineering Services, Amee expanded her role to lead technical program management for BES along with Tech Ed. For her inaugural year of the Women at VMware Power of Difference community, Amee served as the co-lead in Global Employee Resource Group. She was also a contributor to VMware Foundation's 2 papers on transforming technology pro bono. Amee received the Watermark Senior Executive of the Year Make Your Mark Award for her work supporting women in technology. Currently, Amee is the candidate for her master's in computer science from Rice University. Amee earned a dual bachelor's degree in accounting and business computer information systems from John Brown University. Amee, would you please like to share your story of how you came into tech?
Thank you so much, Doreen. I am so inspired by hearing all these stories and amazed at how many of these women started off early in their career in tech. My career was a little bit later, as you heard from that wonderful introduction there. And so I started off with the degree in accounting. And I had a minor in computers because I thought it was fascinating and interesting. And frankly, there are a lot of really great guys in that program as well. And so they were my friends and I got to hang out with them and take classes with them. So computers didn't start out being a huge passion until after I started working and found out that accounting is a lot of fun in class and not so much fun in real life. And so I started switching my career over to the computer side. And with that, what I found out is that when you find your passion, when you find out what really inspires you, when you know the why of what you love, you really find out what it is that you want to do in your career. You really find out the direction that you want to take. And then the only question is, how do you bring that all together and put that into something that works for you in your career? So as I started working more with computers, I found that that was my love. I found that I love seeing the light come on in people's eyes when they saw something new, novel, inspiring, found a way to do something that hadn't been done before. And I joined a great company called VMware that was doing something that was novel and new. And in fact, part of the way that we described ourselves is doing the impossible and making the impossible possible. And it's one of those things that not only did it allow me to grow my career and become more technical, moving from operations over to the engineering side, but it also encouraged you to find out who you were as an individual and contribute and bring your best self to work. And I did that a lot at VMware, working through the different sides of the power of difference communities, our employee resource groups. But more importantly, I learned a lot about technology and how important it was, as it was brought up by Nataliya, to continue your learning and to never stop learning and never stop experiencing new things and finding new things to explore. And so my career, again, like I mentioned, happened later on as I found my passion, as I found what I really wanted to do with my career. And so that's why I went back and started my master's program, because I wanted to continue learning and I wanted to be able to stand on the same platform as all of the technical people I was getting to work with every day and know what it is that drove them and inspired them and made them so excited about doing something in technology. It's been a fascinating program. It's been a fascinating thing. And I love pulling together my skills as a program manager and the technical side of what it is that I'm doing in order to create this environment that brings both of it together, because that's my passion. And that's where I am best suited. And that's what I love to do. And again, it was by finding my why, what motivated me, why I wanted to do this, how I wanted to be expressed and seen and developed as a professional, that really kept me in the tech world and moved me over to a place that I'm extremely happy, which is with all of the technology people doing something that's never been done before, and hopefully continuing to do that throughout my career. Doreen, thank you so much for the time for this, and it's back to you.
Thank you so much. And know the why. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And it's such an exciting time to be in tech with all the changes. Always exciting. And it's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Truly. At this point, I'd like to introduce Jessica White. Jessica is a seasoned tech executive and growth leader, is deeply passionate about forging new pathways to market success. As an alumni at both IBM and Accenture, she collaborates with G2000 companies to enhance employee experience, customer experience, and operational technology outcomes. Jessica's impressive track record includes established people-centric software and service practices across the tech industry giants IBM, Google, Microsoft, where her work has consistently earned Partner of the Year accolades. Jessica brings a wealth of experience in corporate strategy, M&A consulting, service delivery. In addition, Jessica has forged strategic alliance with iconic brands such as NASCAR, Salesforce.com, and the Weather Company and IBM Business. Jessica is an AI advisor in the future of work domain, serves on an advisory board of a security startup, and is actively engaged with nonprofits in Atlanta. Outside of work, Jessica's passions include family, contemporary art, music, architecture, and gardening. Please give a very warm welcome to Jessica. And Jessica, we'd love to hear your story about how you got into the technology industry.
Awesome. Gosh, Doreen, thank you for having me. And I'm just blown away with the talent and the IQ on this call. It's incredible. Really, all the engineers and folks are the ones that really make it happen in our energy, in our industry. And people like me, I like to think bring the forward momentum in terms of go to market and sales and connection. I started my career actually in the music industry. I thought I was going to be a media and entertainment lawyer. I had an incredible drive and went to work at a lot of different labels. I worked for Madonna's label Maverick. I was on the radio, on Radio Disney. I was on ABC Disney and our country stations here. And then my last role was I worked at Columbia Records. And one day I was in Tower Records. If you guys in Atlanta happen to remember Tower Records, or in LA, it's a fantastic music store. And I had an epiphany. And the epiphany said that in the future, the music industry will be run by technology companies. And that was a real blessing because that absolutely is the truth today, 25 years later. And at the time, those technology companies didn't exist. So I took matters into my own hands. I put myself through technology school at night. I learned the language of tech. And I beat an MIT grad for my first job at IBM. It was kind of an amazing journey to go from epiphany in a record store to then being part of one of the largest technology companies in the world. And honestly, that's where I met Doreen. Doreen was one of my early career mentors. And we also were on the Women in Technology boards together and just had a ton of fun, really building exciting things in the IBM world. That began my career at IBM. I spent 17 years at IBM, and it was truly a blessing because I was able to learn all kinds of skill sets that I hadn't yet developed. Um, I got to do corporate strategy. I got to do large programmatic releases and designing systems. But then I got to design partner programs and do M&A work, assess companies for purchase, integrate companies, and then go and drive go to market within those companies. And in my last couple of roles, really focusing on what I believe in most companies to be one of the best catalysts for growth, and that's building out revenue and go to market through large scale partnerships. After working at the weather company, which was a wonderful experience that got me from IT into OT, which is a space that I love, I was recruited to Accenture to start their IBM digital practice. We built that business from 20 million to 200 million in 2 years and won Partner of the Year twice. I was then recruited to be the growth leader for our Google business group. Again, incredible growth results where I got to also learn marketing and sales enablement. And as a growth leader, you kind of just step into the roles where there are gaps and you become very ambidextrous. And that has been also a blessing in my career, just the ability to step into things that are new and different and really push me in terms of my skill set. I then went to run the largest territory in Accenture for our Microsoft business group, which was the Northeast Financial Services. And then I was the growth leader for the digital workplace practice. And as Doreen said, I now am an AI advisor for Global Work Tech, Unwork, which is an organization that brings together end user technology with facilities and buildings folks. So kind of like merging the physical and the digital. And I do have a new endeavor that I'm will shortly be announcing, but again, it's still in that growth leader space, and that's been great. But what I'm most proud of, Doreen and team, is the work I've been doing around human connection. That over 23 years and working in these very complex corporate structures, being a part of a small group of women in technology, learning what that means in terms of accelerating sponsorship, mentorship, and the connection between two people, and then how to apply that to sales. And so I've launched a platform called Circles, where we work with various groups to really help people feel more connected in the digital age. And that's brought me a lot of joy. I do have a 12-year-old son. I've been with my husband for 30 years. We live on 2 acres in a national park and love working out in the garden and really love music as well as contemporary art. And board service is certainly a passion of mine. And I know Doreen and others share that passion. So Doreen, thanks for having me today. What a fabulous group of ladies.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I still remember the first time I met you. You just finished running the technology for the Grammys. And I just thought that was so cool. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yes, I was very fortunate.
So when you watch the Oscars or the Grammys, I always think Jessica used to run the technology for that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Truly incredible.
Thank you.
So at this time, I'd love to introduce Heather Osborn. Heather Osborn was recently the Senior Director of DevOps at Cerebral, an online mental health care company, which filled with much needed gap in access to this critical service. Heather has worked in technology as a systems and operations engineer and manager for over 25 years. Much of her career was spent working on the premises systems at Ticketmaster, where she helped grow the online presence from a handful of Windows gaming desktops set up as web servers to a global system, a mix of on-premise and cloud-based systems that experience unbelievable surges in traffic whenever a popular event goes on sale. Her more recent career path has been entirely cloud-based and focused on AWS and Kubernetes. The goal is to lead teams in creating maintainable, secure infrastructure to enable, develop autonomy and rapid iteration. She'll be speaking at the Southern California Linux Expo for the second time this coming Saturday. She has also been actively involved in women's groups at her companies, including being a charter member of minority genders in tech at Cerebral. She has also served multiple years as a mentor of young women and girls who are interested in exploring technology. She is drawn to this cause because she has often been an only woman in the team. She is an avid distance runner, technology evangelist, live music aficionado, immersive camping enthusiast, dedicated mother, and cat mom. Without further ado, please welcome Heather Osborn. And Heather, we would absolutely love to hear your story about how you got into technology.
Thank you, Doreen. And to some extent, like Amy mentioned and like Jessica mentioned, I didn't go into tech directly. I didn't wake up when I was a kid going, I want to be a technologist. I started out as a journalism major. I thought I wanted to be a writer. I thought I wanted to spread the news. And as I went through my journalism career, I was the one that would get called upon to fix the printer. The most hated of all technologies, the printer. I'd get called on to fix that. I got called on to, when we started moving from cutting up pieces of paper and gluing it together to make a newspaper, they went, ooh, we have this software. Hey, can you figure this out? And I figured it out. Every job I got, someone would ask, hey, can you figure out this thing? Ooh, this email. I figured it out. So I inadvertently ended up being in technology. And as time went on, I realized that was really, really what I enjoyed. I liked the fact that I did have writing skills, because a lot of technologists don't necessarily have the writing skills or the speaking skills. But I have been able to take that and be able to translate it back and forth between the high-tech folks and the low-tech folks and get it communicated in a way that people can understand what it is that we're doing. I actually got my first computer job. Like, I never went formal education wise for working in systems. I got my first computer job. Basically, I was sitting on my lunch breaks working a chargeback job, reading the Linux manual or Unix manuals. This was back before the Linux was a big thing. Reading Unix manuals in my car at lunch, and I ran into a Unix professor. Was his part-time job, or his part-time after regular office hours job was as a professor, and he's like, oh, you're reading this thing, I'll give you this test that I give my students. I grabbed the test, I took the test and gave it back to him, and he's like, that was an open book test. He's like, you did better than all of my students. And I went, maybe this is an industry I should probably go into. And got my first computer job. I actually managed to sell myself by saying that I had cats that were named after computer things. I had a cat named Novella. I had a cat named Malik, like memory allocation in C programming. I had a cat named Vermal, VRML, if you remember those. And the people who were involved in the technology went, oh, she's strange and let's hire her. And that's the start of my tech career. Went from there, ended up at Ticketmaster, where I, as was mentioned, started from a handful of gaming desktop servers. There were HP Vectras, and we were basically setting up the new era of web for Ticketmaster. It used to just be in stores, and there were the distributed systems across the US, and you had things hooked up in very arcane ways, and basically we slapped a web server in front of it and managed to get that to the state where it is now. You've all heard the Taylor Swift outages and things like that. The nature of the traffic that comes into those is you have limited inventory. Say you've got 10,000 seats, but you have 30,000 people trying to buy them. It's not like Amazon where you say, we'll just put this on a rain check and we'll add some more later. This is limited inventory, and that's what you have. It was what you have. So I learned a lot of things around keeping bad actors out of buying tickets and things like that, learning how to segment traffic and keep bots out of there. We've got to fight through things with New York Attorney General and all of that, and keeping scalpers from being able to get access to major inventory and so on. And from there, I ended up going to Spin, which is a micromobility company. I went as a systems architect there. I moved entirely to the public cloud, AWS and such. And then most recently at Cerebral, the change from Ticketmaster to Spin and Cerebral was fairly drastic because I went from a fairly large corporate company that had been around since before I was born to something that was a short-term startup in both cases. And the difference between knowing how to do things in a corporate world versus doing things in a startup world where everybody has to be very lean and has to be very quick with what they're doing. It was great to shake things up. I think it was Amee who mentioned you always need to keep learning. And that is the difference between my career at Ticketmaster versus my career at the startups. It was in my best interest to keep learning and to be very, very active in what I was moving forward with. And that is where I am today. I'm continuing to learn every day, continuing to keep up with the industry, and it's what fuels my fire. It keeps me interested, and I hope to bring the next generation of women into this. It was a little bit of a struggle for me to get into it just because I was the only one I knew, as Doreen mentioned in my intro. And this is something we want to get more folks in here, more women or minority genders into technology and move on from there. And that would be my journey to tech. Thank you, Doreen.
Thank you so much, Heather. I'm very thankful for your Unix professor. I think we all need that Unix professor. At this time, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see the panelists' beautiful face. So if all of my panelists can come on camera and on audio, we're going to start first with 4 quick questions that might surprise you to their answers. Okay, so the first question we're all going to answer is, have you ever had a female boss? And I have had multiple. Have y'all ever had a female boss? Yep.
Doreen,
Yeah.
you were my boss.
Is it true?
I think you may be one of the only. No, that's not true. I have had a handful, but you were my one of my first bosses in tech. Yeah.
That's amazing. And Shilpi, have you had a female boss? I didn't see her. Nope. Okay, so most of us have. Poor Shilpi has never had a female boss. Have you ever been the only woman on a team? Now, we know Heather had said yes. Yeah. I remember my first conference at Dartmouth, 400 people, there were 3 women at it. Only women on a team, Shilpi? Yeah.
We had a global tech summit at Ticketmaster, and we had 80 people from around the world. I was the only woman.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
most of us have all experienced that. Now, these next 2 questions I think are going to be surprising though. Have you ever been on a women majority team?
No.
3 of us have.
No, I think Doreen, like back previously, I was the one person in the room, and now I think I'm one of 2. Improved
Here
a
we go.
little.
So this next one's going to surprise you even further. Have you ever been on an all-women team? Yep.
Yep, and my team was with Darina on the same team.
Is it true?
That was the only all-woman
Is it
team
true?
I've been on.
But it's good to know it exists. It can happen. And hopefully that will give some inspiration to others. So at this point, we're going to start diving into the questions. The first question is, do you like math at school? Heather, would you like to dive into that one?
Sure. Here's where I say teachers are important. How they present and what they offer you is important. I did not like math. I did like math right up until I had a teacher that was very had favoritism towards certain people in the classes, and I wasn't one of them. And I grew kind of a distaste of math at that point. I snuck off and went to community college and took my calculus elsewhere, but it was something I knew needed to happen, but it was not a desire or a love.
Nataliya, would you like to jump in on that?
Oh, yes. I think I'm on the opposite side from Heather. I actually loved math and like all the way through like elementary to high school. I had amazing teachers. They recognized me for the fact that I was one of not many girls who actually were enjoying math. And I got all support I needed, even when there were some challenges. But once I got into university and I was sure that like math is something like excites me, it was very challenging. So I would say I did not like math in the university, but overall, I think I'm on the on the upside of the math.
See, I always think that people use the word hard to describe math when it should be interesting, right? So Shelby, tell us, did you like math in school?
Maths was never my cup of tea till primary grades. But as I narrated in my story, one day when I joined my friend in a extra class of mathematics, the maths teacher said to her, sarcastically pointing me, that you will never become an engineer, but she will become if you will not solve maths. And that was a turning point for me. And from that day, I thought that if I have to become an engineer, then I have to start liking maths. And later on in my higher school, I became one of the toppers in mathematics.
Excellent. So you found a way to love it. And Amy, would you like to chime in on how you liked math?
Oh my goodness, Doreen, I started my graduate program, my master's in computer science just 2 years ago, and I graduate this May. And they have the requirement at that level in a master's program is really advanced math. Remember, 2022 is when I started. I graduated from college in the 1900s, the 1990s. That's a big gap. And I have to tell you, I loved math and all the way through undergraduate, all the way through all those years. I get into my master's program, I fell flat on my face. I had to hire a tutor to walk me through all of this, but I found my passion for math once again. Because the master's program assumes that you just finished your undergraduate and you're really fresh. I was not fresh. I was old and stale and brittle. And so I had to go back and learn all of that. And I found my passion again. But absolutely, I still do love math. Even though.
Very, very good. Two hurrahs for math. Absolutely love it. So Nataliya, would you like to describe what your role is and what does your average day look like?
Well, Doreen, that is a very good question. When you say what is my role, is that my role at work, in personal life? I think and I believe we all wear multiple hats. And there are times when we more focus on being a mother or a spouse or a team member in the community or at work, or just being a student in the MBA program. And as my kids are grown up and I have a lot to do at work, I think my every day is similar to most of yours, where I have like long hours during business day. And my weekends focused mostly on probably like school. But I also try to find time to exercise or play piano, which I'm very passionate about, or maybe like walk the dogs, or just be present with my family. So otherwise, that's how my days look like.
Thank you, Nataliya. It sounds like I always say in technology, the one thing for sure is if you think you know what your day is going to be like when you start, you're mistaken. Excellent. Now, Heather, I didn't know if you wanted to share what your day was like, but I know you also want to share your story, the closest you've ever come to leaving technology.
So do you want me to
You can do both.
pick one, or?
Yeah, you can start with how your average day is and then go into the
closest I ever came to leaving technology?
Yeah.
Okay. How my average day goes is wake up, what's on fire? I say I've been on call for 25 years, like not directly on call, but as a manager in technology, I'm theoretically always on call because I am there in case someone needs me. Check to see what's on fire, check to see what people need of me, get through all my Slack messages, start talking to people. I've realized as time goes on, the longer I spend in management, it's really more of a people management and soft skills than it is the technology. I'm excited when I get to spend a day working in technology. Most of it is combating difficult personalities that are kind of trying to duke their way out through a problem instead of talking about it, collaborating on it, and coming up with a solution together. So I've been a referee more often than not. So what's on fire? Who do I need to break up from a fight? Let's move on. And then ideally at the end of the day, we go, oh, cool, we made something neat. Awesome. And that's the optimal day. And then, as Nataliya mentioned, I go out and get some exercise because I need to get some aggression out after I've dealt with things blowing up and people blowing up all day, and go on from there. And so the question on what's the closest I ever came to leaving technology, I won't say that I specifically wanted to leave technology, maybe my direct field. The concepts of technology are something I still want to pursue, regardless of whether it's doing what I do these days. I think so much work now is based on technology. You could be a gardener and you're in the technology field because of the nature of what you do. So I don't think escaping technology is an option anymore. It used to be a running joke that I say, oh, I'm tired of this, I'm gonna go work at McDonald's. Well, it's, there's no leaving, there's no escaping. Back to you.
There's tech there too. Shilpi, would you like to share the story about when you're closest you've ever come to leaving technology?
Yeah, sure. And I think my story will match with most of the ladies out there. So in 2015, I was already working in IT for 8 years, and I became a mommy. And that time, just after my maternity leaves, I was so overwhelmed with a little one and the job that I decided that do I have to continue or look after the little one? That time, there is a famous quote by Amee, which says, "We expect women to work like they don't have children and raise children as if they don't work." That quote was echoing in my ears again and again. And I decided that I know this is a tough time, but if I propel through this, it will be a good one. And if I leave my job or go out of the technology after the career break, the time that will come will be the toughest one. So, with the help of my husband and the little one, I was helped and I never left the technology.
Excellent. Well, we're very thankful, and I think, truth be told, I've gotten a lot of help from my spouse as well in that regard. We all get by with a little help from our friends. Nataliya, would you like to share the closest you ever came to leaving technology?
I think the closest one I got, but not leaving technology, like Heather mentioned, we tie to technology everywhere. I think maybe leaving a specific area like security and switch to another area within the tech field. For example, in one of my previous roles, I had rework, and I found myself on the team that was not security related, and it was a great opportunity to explore another side of the business, better understand the company and values we bring into the customers. It also maybe sparked some additional interest in business side, and this is maybe what pushed me to get into business school. So I think those things are important for us to see, not just one area and one area in the tech that we're working with, but be curious and explore outside of where we are and see maybe there are better places where we can apply ourselves.
Thank you. Very good. And Jessica, are you still here? You want to pop on camera and voice? Did you want to share?
Yeah, I'm here. I actually kind of want to answer the how do I spend my day question. I think we have so many demands on us as mothers, as women, in a very high growth, accelerated field. I find that in the mornings, I really have to ground myself in some quiet time. I think it's important to have a spiritual practice. Meditation is really important. I love that some of the other ladies mentioned exercise, which is absolutely critical, that we keep ourselves in a place of balance when our work dictates imbalance a lot of times. And then after that, I quickly figure out how to manage my morning commute while I'm also, feeding kiddo, getting out the door, making sure the dogs are fed, all that kind of stuff. I try to start the day focusing on my strategic items. If I go straight to my inbox, it's like a rabbit hole that I really have a hard time pulling myself out of. And then at the end of the day, I look at it and go, what did I really accomplish? Right. So every day I try to just chip away at those high level strategic items that are going to make the organization that I'm working within or building successful, the infrastructure, the framework for how we go to market, while also like prioritizing the tactical items. And then after that, it's probably another hour in the car trying to maximize my time with podcasts that are going to enrich my brain a little bit, maybe help me with the things I need to do the day, figuring out church, baseball, getting dinner on the table. And then on Fridays, I like to carve out time to work with the folks that I mentor, helping people make career transitions. And where none of us are strangers to those career transitions. If you've been in tech and you've worked for a big company, you've either been moved around or you may have been laid off. And I just find those opportunities they truly are opportunities for growth, right? To dive back into understanding where are my strengths, what are the things that really bring me joy. There's a really great meditation teacher. And he actually former Accenture is his name is Jay. I'm just blanking on his last name. You guys probably know who he is. And he talks about Dharma. And Dharma for him, because it can be defined in a lot of ways, is when you can connect the dots between your strengths and what the universe needs. And that's when we find true meaning. And so I work with folks as much as I can to help them find that, because so many people have invested in me to help me align my strengths to a meaningful career.
My first thought is you're going to have to join Toastmasters and give us a talk on Dharma. That was amazing.
Hey,
thank you, Jessica.
I love
Nataliya, would you like to share anything your parents did that was critical, that made a difference for you to enter technology?
That's a good one. Actually, my parents never pressured me and never dictated me what area or industry I should pursue my career. And I was actually very grateful for that, because that allowed me to go any way I wanted to go. Granted, my both parents were engineers, and my grandparents were, also in science and technology. So it was very easy decision for me to pursue a technical career. But what I learned from that is that just opportunity to go anywhere you want will get you where you would like and where you would succeed most. And I approached the same with my children. I gave them opportunity to explore all areas I could get them exposure to, but at the end, it's on them to choose. And they also both choose, tech field and science.
So I'm thinking we need to drop to one of the questions that everyone asked, that everyone wants to know, and that's number 12 for those for the speakers. How did you build your confidence to stay the course in technology over your career? And so, Nataliya, would you like to jump in on that?
Yes, it's very simple. Just be open-minded, never stop learning, seek for new challenges, learn and be curious. That's my answer.
Excellent. And Jessica, would you like to add anything to that? How did you build your confidence?
Yeah, being outcome-based, kind of making sure that in every job, in every role, in every project, that you're really quantifying your outcomes, because then that is kind of a stepping stone to your next thing. A lot of times we go through and we know we're successful and maybe other people appreciate what we're doing, but it's kind of for naught if you can't really articulate what was accomplished in terms of KPIs or alignment to the business or some kind of achievement that's significant in the role you're in. So I just having an outcome-based mentality and being able to articulate the outcomes that I generated.
Excellent. And Heather, would you like to add to that? How did you build your confidence?
This one is a little bit of a challenging question, because I do go through a little bit of imposter syndrome. I wake up every morning going, I have no idea what I'm doing. And as the course of the day goes through, I go, wait, no, maybe I know what I'm doing. And then generally by the end of the day, I go, wow, that was awesome. I did some really cool things. And then I start over again every morning going, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think to what Jessica's point is being able to have measurable things, the good definition of done, like what did I accomplish? Did I do what I set out to do? And I think that's something that keeps my confidence going, even if I don't start with it every morning.
Excellent. And Amee, would you like to add to that? How did you build your confidence?
No, amazing answers so far. They're all spot on and perfect. No, amazing answers so far. They're all spot on and perfect. The one practice that I started doing when I joined the technology side or the engineering side of the house is at the end of every day or at the end of every major milestone, I would write down what it was that I accomplished and did. And it wasn't because I wanted to brag on myself, but it was because I needed to go to my boss and show her what I had done. And it's a great way to every day say, I did something. Like Heather and Jessica both said, if you don't measure it and you don't write it down and you don't know that you did it, did you do it? Because it's got to be on that piece of paper. And it's a great way to look back at the end of the year and said, I did all of those things. Because it's so easy to get discouraged. Heather, I think you brought up the infighting that happens sometimes, and you spend your day because they're brilliant people, so brilliant, so amazing. But sometimes the communication goes wrong. But if you can help them come together and do that, that's a great skill. That's a great thing to jot down and document and put it down on your list. So
Excellent.
I have a list, and it's
Great
just an Excel
insights.
spreadsheet.
Self-coaching to the rescue every time. And Shilpi, would you like to share how you became confident in your capabilities?
Yeah. So as I said, I was the first woman from my community to join engineering, and I keep reminding myself that if you have done this, then you can do that. And I know there will be biases inside the IT industry for women. There will be lack of role models and lack of representation. But I keep myself reminding. One of the initiative I have taken is I have joined the diversity ambassador of Oracle and the CGIU diversity task force at Oracle to meet like-minded people and sort out what's not working out.
Excellent. Final question, Nataliya, what is the best advice you ever received? Quick round.
Yes, I would like to share two. Number one, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's the one that empowered me in so many occasions and helped me with priority decisions. And I cannot be happier for this manager that, like shared that with me. Another great advice that I received at the time when I'm unsure about myself, and or if I have any doubts, I just remind myself there is the reason why I'm here. I have so much to offer. That helped me on many occasions as well.
Heather, quick, best advice you ever received?
That's one I picked up a long time ago that I carry on and I think is beneficial to camaraderie in my team is don't ask anybody to do anything you wouldn't do yourself. Everything that I do, mundane tasks, I would do them myself if I had to. So that keeps the team together and so on. And I think that's a great one to carry along.
Fantastic. So at this point, we are ready for announcements. The first announcement is, if you are in enterprise technology and you have a tough problem, that's what industry analysts are for. You have the ability when you're a client to jump on a Teams call and brainstorm for an hour or run over your problem or your process. So if you're interested, go to the Become a Client on TBW website and click and love to have you. If, however, you have been watching this panel and said, wow, I really need to get my speaking game up, and that includes friends that I invited that were afraid of joining the panel today, then on Wednesday, I would love for you to join Heather and I with Control Speak Toastmasters Open House. See TBW Advisors on LinkedIn. I have the post there for you, and I will also mail it out to everybody. The second announcement is I'm starting a brand new Toastmasters Club for the truly geeks in us. And it starts on March 29th, Friday, and that's also posted, and I will mail it to you. Great thing to know about Toastmasters, it's only $10 a month plus $20 for your educational program. So $140 if you have a corporate program that supports training. Sometimes your manager will pay for it for you. Sometimes you can use your program that allows you to buy treadmills and such, like Perks at Works and those sorts of things. But definitely, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be a great communicator, and it will definitely contribute to your career. So we hope to see you Wednesday at Control Speak, and then on Friday the 29th at Speaking Geeks. The next announcement is for clients. We published Conference Whispers FinTech Meetup last Friday. However, we did also sneak this one on LinkedIn, and all of the videos up are on YouTube. So if you have not subscribed to TBW Advisors on YouTube, please be sure to. We have all we cover is enterprise technology with heavy focus on cloud and data and security. So what's not to love? Next week, we're covering Internet 2.0. So the videos will be popping up live from on site, and the coverage will pop up later in the week. And then on the April 14th to the 17th, we are covering NAB Show. There's a few more coming in. And so be sure to subscribe to TBW Advisors on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn. And I can't even thank my panelists enough today. It's been a fantastic conversation. We did not get to all the questions, but it still was a great meeting. Thank you so much. And everyone have an amazing day. This has been Industry Whispers, celebrating Women in Tech 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Doreen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have an amazing day.